So my 230 has been having this intermittent bogging and dying problem, and it's been super reliable, and it was like a hesitation or bog, usually coming out of a tight corner. So when I'd get on the gas under load, usually second, third gear, it kind of just hesitate or bog, and I couldn't tell if it was rich or it was lean. I ended up replacing the air filter, which was dirty. It was past due. Thought that might be it, not getting enough air, but it still caused that problem. So I pulled the spark plug off. The plug was fouled. I'm like, oh, that's got to be it, right? So I replaced the plug, and it wouldn't even start at that point once I let it cool down. That eventually got it to start. I checked the carb. I pulled the float ball off. Carb looked really clean. Checked the air boot. I mean, I was kind of confused, and I ended up taking the this end cap off to make sure there's no junk or mouse nest in there. And it didn't. I eventually got it started, and I left the panel or the cover for the air box off, as well as this, just to see if the jetting was that far off. And yeah, it was really lean with both those off, so I put this back on. It was a little bit better, but still too lean. Put this back on, and it's a little bit better. But so now it starts and runs fine, and I was about to go and test it again with everything all buttoned back up. So I start it, and it starts fine, but when I was turning it out of the garage, now it's not doing it. Well, just a few minutes ago, when I turned it on and I turned the handlebars to the left, the engine would die. And I tried starting it again, it wouldn't start with the handlebars turned to the left. Turn it back straight or to the right, and it'd fire right up. Well, it's fine right now, so intermittent problem, definitely electrical wiring issue. So I'm guessing something is rubbing in here, so I'm gonna have to take the tank off and just look at all the wiring. Maybe it's the kill switch, and figure out where there is a wiring electrical or ground problem. Well, since it was an intermittent issue, I was thinking first, oh, it's probably the kill switch. There's something, a wire got to be pinched. So I pulled the seat off, the gas tank off, and I'm like, wait a minute. I had an Aftermarket Ignition on here, a Procom CDI that I put in like 6 years ago, and I still have the stock one. So I swapped it out, put the stock one back in right there, fired it up, went for a ride, no bogging issues. So that's what it was. The Aftermarket CDI started failing. Seems to be running fine now. Only problem is I don't have quite as much low-end torque and snap, so not quite as fun, but still enough power. I might get another one. So 6 years isn't too bad for a aftermarket Chinese product that gave it more power. So the moral of this story is, when you have a problem with your bike, just think back to what's the last thing you did, or what is one thing that you have modified on your bike. Because I prefer stock bikes for the most part because they're the most reliable. Once you start modifying stuff, that's when things can go wrong, whether you install it wrong or it's just a less reliable part. So if you find this helpful or enjoyable, entertaining, share it with a friend. This is Kelly Fager from Motocross Hideout. Learn more, ride more.